Assalamu alaikum dear students, this is Sayyida Halima Sadia, your instructor for Functional English with course code ENG151. Welcome to lecture number 15, which is adverbs, hard, hardly, and position of adverbs. So in this lecture, we will be studying the introduction to adverbs, types or kinds of adverbs, adverbs hard, hardly, and position of adverbs. So moving on to the introduction. Introduction is really important because if we don't know what is an adverb, we cannot use it properly, and adverbs are one of the word class, one of the part of word class, which can be easily misunderstood and easily written in wrong places, which can make wrong sense. And that is why we are highlighting the hard and hardly as an example, using hard and hardly as an example of what can go wrong with adverbs. So what actually are adverbs? An adverb is a word or an expression that modifies a verb, adjective, and another adverb. We have to focus on three things here, that is a verb, adjective, and another adverb. So adverb generally express manner, place, time, frequency, degree, level of certainty, and this will be more clearly understood in the further part of the lecture. Okay, when an adverb answers questions such as how, in what way, when, where, like how an action happens, in what way it happened, when it happened, where it happened, and to what extent it happened, it's called an adverbial function. So whenever there is an adverb which tells you how far, how much, like in what manner something happened, so how much in a sense, like what was the frequency of the action happening, or what was the frequency of something happening, so it will be called an adverbial function. Okay, examples. So moving on to examples, first of all there is Ron runs quickly. Here quickly shows how Ron runs, so here adverb quickly modifies the verb runs. So we can see from the definition we have three things. First is it can either modify a verb, it can either modify an adjective or an adverb. So here quickly, which is an adverb, modifies verb runs. So moving on to the second one, this is a very sweet mango. We can see in this sentence that sweet mango, if we remove the word very, we will be left with this is a sweet mango. So sweet is doing what? It's modifying the noun mango. So sweet will be an adjective. And here very, as we know, very is modifying what? Sweet. It's very sweet. So very is modifying an adjective, and very here is an adverb. So we can see that here an adverb very is modifying an adjective, that is sweet. So this is the second example, which is highlighting the part that it can also modify an adjective. Moving on to the third, Ali writes quite remarkably. So if you can see that there is a word written here which is remarkably. Remarkably is an adverb. So if you see Ali writes remarkably, this is also correct, that what is modifying writes, it's remarkably. So remarkably is an adverb. But what's further modifying an adverb and adding to it, in intensifying an adverb, is another adverb, which is quite. So how does Ali write? Ali writes quite remarkably. So it's adding to an adverb, adverb modifying another adverb. Moving on to the next part of our lecture, just kinds or types of adverbs. First of all is adverbs of time, then adverbs of frequency. These are like the main types of or main kinds of adverbs. So adverb of time is these adverbs show when something takes place. Example, he comes to park daily. He comes to the park daily. He goes there daily. He comes here often. These are the type of adverbs of time. That day he arrived late. So it's also late is a type of adverb of time. It comes in the category of adverb of time. Why? Because it's telling when he arrived late. When does he come to the park? How often does he come to the park? Or when does he come to the park? He comes to the park daily. And there can be another example or many other examples actually. He comes here daily is like, if we extend the word daily to other sentences, I have already spoken to him. So if we change the sentence, I have spoken to him already. Already is what? An adverb of time. The end soon came. It's an adverb of time. Soon is an adverb. I hurt my knee yesterday. So yesterday tells when. When was the knee hurt? The knee was hurt yesterday. Wasted time never returns. It's for all of us. It's a great line and it shows wasted time never returns. So when does it return, or when the question when is answered by what? It's answered by never. So the bus soon came. Soon is telling what? That when an action is going to happen and when it happens and when it used to happen, things like that. So then comes adverbs of frequency. Adverbs of frequency shows how often something happens, like what is the rate of something happening. So we can understand it better from the examples, like the students were informed twice. How often they were informed? They were informed twice. Then John always tries to do his best. How often John tries to do his best? He always tries to do his best. Then the postman called again. My mother called again. There can be another example like, I have not seen him once today. How often have I seen him today? Not even once. Dog seldom bites. How often does the dog bite? They seldom bite. He seldom bites. Things like that. So these come in adverbs of frequency. Moving on to another kind of adverb, which is adverb of place. Adverb of place shows where something has happened. We will come towards adverbs of manner later. So here these adverbs show where something has happened. So these are adverbs of place. We can see the examples here, that come in. Come where? Come in. He looked where? He looked up. And there can be other examples like stand here, go there. She is out. Please come backwards. Please walk forward. Please take a step there. He has galloped away. He has gone away. He has followed me everywhere. So these are types of examples of adverbs of place. Then adverbs of another example is the car drifted away. Okay. Then adverbs of manner. These adverbs show how something has happened. For example, Andrew works hard. The swan swam gracefully. How did this swan swam? It swam gracefully. How did Andrew work? Or how does Andrew work? He works hard. So they tell us in what manner and how does something happens. In what manner something happens. So Ali reads clearly, the boys fought bravely, like the soldiers fought bravely. Thus only will you succeed. So thus here is what? Adverb of manner. Is that so? In this sentence, so is adverb of manner. Moving on. There are other kinds of adverbs as well, but here we are not focused on kinds of adverbs. So these are adverbs of quality, like it shows how much or in what degree or to what extent something is there. Like he was too careless, he is fully prepared. I'm so glad. So it's telling the quantity, the degree of the of the action, of the feelings, of whatever we are talking about. So it's the adverb of quantity. Then there are adverbs of affirmation or negation, like I do not know him. So here not is an adverb. He certainly went. He's certainly a good man. So certainly here is affirming something, and in the other sentence not was negating something. Okay, adverbs of reason. He is hence unable to refute the charge. He therefore left school. So here there and hence are adverbs of reason. Now moving on, adverbs hard and hardly. If we read from the table, at one side it's written hard and on the other side it's written hardly. So if we read this guy was running hard. Then if we read on the other side, this guy hardly runs. It is raining hard. It hardly rains. On weekend, she studies hard. On the weekends, she hardly studies. So here we see that, okay, hard and hardly are almost similar. We can say that hardly can be the adverb of the adjective hard. Like we generally make adverbs from adjectives by adding ly, like beautiful becomes beautifully, slow becomes slowly. But the case of hard is different, as adverb of the adjective hard is hard, not hardly. We can see from the previous examples. You can when you are listening to my lecture afterwards, you can switch back to the previous slide and see that there is a lot of difference in the meaning of both hard and hardly. The sentences using the word hard and hardly, they are quite different. Like it rained hard and it hardly rained. So the first sentence means that it really poured hard, like the rain was really hard, it rained heavily. And the other sentence, it hardly rained, it's like it barely rained, like there was no rain, it barely rained. So there is a lot of difference in the meaning. So we cannot say that hardly is an adverb of the adjective hard. Like hard used like there was like anything hard, like hardboard, or the sum was hard, like a math is there, and we say that the sum is hard. So hard is what? Hard is an adjective. But if we make the adjective of this hard, it's not hardly. Hardly is on its own another type of what? It's another type of adverb. So we can say that it's not hardly. The adverb of adjective hard is not hardly, it's actually hard. And this is because these both have completely different meanings, as I have explained to you guys. For example, you are a hard worker, it's an adjective. But if we want to make it into an adverb, we will say you work hard. How do you work? You work hard. So it's an adverb of the adjective hard, so it remains as it is. And then we have you work hardly. It means that you barely work. You work barely, like you don't work and you don't like do your stuff, your work. So you barely work. And if we say you hardly work and then we say you barely work, it makes more sense. Like they are completely different in meaning. Like if we say you work hard and then we say you work hardly, you hardly work. So these sentences make different sense, like completely different sense. Adverb hard. The adverb hard intensifies the verb. It means a lot or with great energy and determination. It is succeeded by or it follows a verb. Like, for example, he works hard. He should be promoted. She trains hard before a competition. She really wants to win. So here we can see that the hard is followed by, or it follows a verb like works. And in the second sentence, hard is succeeded by trains, which is a verb. So the adverb hard is always succeeded by a verb. And why is it used? It's used to intensify the verb. Like he works, okay, he trains before competition, okay, it's okay. But if we say she trains hard before a competition because she really wants to win, so it's intensifying the whole meaning, the whole idea. Got it? Then hardly. The adverb hardly tells you almost never about a verb or almost not at all about an adjective. It precedes a verb in the simple past or present and comes after the helping verb in other tenses. It precedes any adjective it modifies. For example, He has hardly shown up for the class this term. He's going to fail. Don't be so lazy. You are hardly trying. Why not? So here we can see that it precedes any adjective it modifies. What's here, the focus here is almost never or almost not at all. Don't be so lazy, you're hardly trying. It means that you were almost not trying. You were hardly trying. And here he has hardly shown up for the class this term, like he has barely been there in the class. So the meaning here is almost never or almost not at all. Now moving on towards the position of adverbs. Adverb of manner, which answer the question how, as we have seen from the previous slides. For example, well, fast, quickly, carefully are generally placed after the verb or after the object if there is one. For example, it is raining heavily. She speaks English well. So here, what we have read above in the above lines, like it's generally placed after the verb or after the object. So the verb here is raining and speaks, so it's placed after the verb. As we can see, heavily is after raining and well is after speaks. Adverb or adverb phrases of place is then adverb of place. So for example, here, there, everywhere, and of time, for example, now, then, yet, are also usually placed after the verb or after the object if there is one. Same is the case with adverb of place and time, like hang the picture there, or I met her yesterday. So here, hang and met are two verbs, and the adverb of place there is used after the verb, is placed after the verb hang, and the adverb of time, that is yesterday, is used after the verb met. Then she sang well in the concert. Okay, so when there are two or more adverbs after the verb and its object, the normal adverb is adverb of manner, adverb of place, and adverb of time. So they are talking about when there are two or more adverbs after the verb. The normal order is first we will have adverb of manner, then adverb of place, then adverb of time. She sang well in the concert. We should go there tomorrow evening. So go there, if there is something telling about the manner, then we will have something about the manner there. Then after that, there we can see that we shall go there. There is adverb of place. Then tomorrow evening, which is telling what? Adverb of time. And we cannot see the manner here. Then in the first sentence, she sang well in the concert. So well is what? Adverb of manner, and in is what? It's answering the question where. So it's adverb of place. So it's actually clear from these sentences. Adverbs of frequency are normally put between the subject and the verb if the verb consists of only one word. If there is more than one word in the verb, they are put after the first word. So if the verb consists of only one word, then it will be placed between the subject and the verb. But if there are more words in the verb, then it will be put after the first word. For example, he has never seen a tiger. and I have often told him to write neatly. So these both of them are adverbs of frequency, and we can see their placement here. Then if the verb is am, are, is, was, these adverbs are placed after the verbs as I am never late for school. He is always at home on Sundays. How often? What is the frequency? Always. How often he is late or I'm late? I'm never late. So if am, are, is, was are used, then these adverbs are placed after the verb. And what is the verb? Verb is and am. So these are verbs actually, and that's why they are placed after these verbs. Am, are, is, was are verbs. Then these adverbs are usually put before an auxiliary or the single verb be when it is stressed. When will you write the essay? But I already have written it. Do you eat meat? Yes, I sometimes do. So here they are saying that these adverbs are usually put before an auxiliary or single verb be when it is stressed, when you are stressing upon it. Like, but I already have written it. Have is an auxiliary and I sometimes do. So these are placed, they are placed where? They are placed before an auxiliary or the single verb be. When an auxiliary is used alone in the short responses, as in the last response above, it is stressed and therefore the adverb comes before it. So this is telling, this is showing the explanation. The auxiliaries have to, when used, to prefer the adverb in front of them. For example, I often have to go to college on foot. He always used to agree with me. So used to and have to prefer, and we prefer the adverb in front of them. So we preferably use these with an adverb succeeding them, okay? When an adverb modifies an adjective or another adverb, the adverb usually comes before it, okay? The book is very interesting. Asen is a rather lazy boy. So in the first, it's modifying very interesting. So interesting is what? Interesting. And Asen is a rather lazy boy. So rather and very are what? Rather and very are adverbs. So they are what? They are used before an adjective or another adverb. Interesting. But the adverb enough is always placed after the word which it modifies. Example: is the box big enough? He spoke loud enough to be heard. So what are they saying? They are saying that the adverb enough is always placed after the word which it modifies. Whatever enough modifies, so that word will be before the word enough. Like, is this box big enough? It's modifying what? Box. And he spoke loud enough. So loud and spoke both are modified and intensified by enough. So it is enough is used after these words. box is big enough, like this they're telling space, so enough is used after it. Then, as a general rule, the word only should be placed immediately before the word it modifies, as for example, I worked only 2 sums. He has slept only 3 hours. So it should be placed where only is an adverb, and it should be placed immediately before the word it modifies. So only is modifying 2 sums, and only on in the second sentence is modifying 3 hours. So it should be placed immediately before these words. In spoken English, however, it is usually put before the verb and the required meaning is obtained by stressing the word which only modifies. For example, I only worked 2 sums. He has only slept 3 hours. So here you can see the difference. You can see there's a slight difference. What is the difference? We can see in the above and below sentences have differences, and they are saying the required meaning is obtained by stressing the word which the only modifies. So in spoken English, for stressing purposes, only is used where it used before the verb. What is the verb? I only worked 2 sums. So work is stressed, like it shows stressing that only worked on 2 sums. So only is stressing upon work 2 sums, and he has only slept 3 hours. So slept and 3 hours, everything after the word only is stressed. Like he has only slept, like he has slept 3 hours, and it's actually intensifying the meaning that he has barely slept. And the reference for this lecture is given by Wren and Martin. You can all open it and read it, and also search from internet, use different resources. Actually, this lecture is just an outline, a guideline, a blueprint for you all to study, as it's really hard time for all of us to study in this pandemic. So it's just a guideline for all of you to follow, and you can all ask questions, add your queries to me personally on my email or on WhatsApp. And if there are any issues regarding the lecture or any mistakes that have been done, you can inform me. So I thank you all. Hope you understood the lecture, the adverbs, and there won't be any confusions, hopefully. Allah Hafiz, fi amanullah.